Hello and welcome to our weekly program, A Week That Was, a program where you get to sit back and watch the headlines of the week. To discuss this week's headlines and to give us his insight and analysis, we have the group editor of Herald publication with us, Mr. Sujay Gupta. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, we have the headlines taken from the Herald, the voice of Goa, as we do usually. And this week we start with March 26th. It was a Saturday on which one of the fuel price hikes was figured in the headlines of the Herald, but the price hike began on 22nd of March. Now, as of date, there has been a continuous fuel price hike for over the last 10 days, out of which there were 9 price hikes, and as of today, the price of petrol stands at 102 rupees 98 paisa and the price of diesel stands at 93 rupees 87 paisa, a total price hike of 6 rupees 40 paisa. Now, this is stabbing the common man in the back after the elections.
Yeah, Dr. Freddy, see, one of the most ancient forms of torture practiced by the Mossad, the Jews, and Mossad, the Nazis, sorry, not the Jews, Mossad, the Nazis and the others, is you put a man inside a room, inside a torture chamber, and in a dark room, and you essentially put drops of water on his head from a ceiling.
Yeah.
What they used to do is they used to continuously leak water droplets, and they used to be aimed at one part of the person's head. And and that is one of the most severe forms of torture, because when you have these drops falling on your head one by one, it leads to excruciating and unbearable pain.
Yeah.
This is slow torture of the highest degree. So obviously what is happening now, whatever be the reasons, is exactly that. The effect of what the government is doing or the oil companies are doing is this for the common man. It's absolute sheer slow torture. It would have been better to inflict the shock in one shot and said, look, your increase is going to be 6 rupees 40 paisa, please be prepared for it. Or be transparent enough to say, look, after the election this is going to happen, brace yourself for the worst.
Okay.
See, the increase of petrol prices may be necessary, may not have been necessary, but that's a different debate altogether. We are looking into the impact it's happening on the common man. And if it's bound to happen, then I think a greater degree of transparency could have been there, so that people, as I said, they could brace themselves for this. And that is where the problem lies. That and every day you increase it by 80 paisa, and then suddenly you realize that you are spending 6 rupees 40 paisa extra per litre. It's going to have a huge cascading effect, not in the way we travel, but in the way we lead our lives, because it's going to impact every section of our lives. Every item that we buy or enjoy, or every service that we avail of, is going to be more and more expensive now.
Yeah. Moving on to Sunday, the 27th of March, a very, very disturbing headline: Anjuna goons threaten and attack the Herald reporter and another scribe for covering a story on noise pollution violations. Choicest abuse is hurled at a lady reporter.
Yes. The thing is, she was not alone. She and another colleague from a web-based portal, Goenka Pond, was there as well.
Yeah.
And both of them were there. And see, one must understand that the people of Anjuna, the local people, are completely fed up with this excessive noise pollution. Now, what is noise pollution? Noise pollution essentially is that in the evening hours, from say 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening, right up to midnight and even beyond, far beyond, that entire stretch on that Anjuna coastal line is full of these bars and restaurants and nightclubs.
Yeah.
Some are legit, some are illegit. There's literally a violation in each one of them. We're not even getting into that. What we're getting into is that how many of them have the license to play music till way beyond midnight?
Yeah.
How many of them have proper excise licenses as well? What is important is that there is a High Court ruling which very specifically lays down conditions under which you can play music till such a long time. I'm saying entertainment is important, tourism is important, but not at the cost of the local suffering in the manner that they are. And the issue is that all these are people who run these establishments break the law with absolute impunity. They have no regard for the people who live there. They have no regard for High Court judgments that regulate sound there.
Yeah.
Because of which the petitioners who went to court, they have actually filed a contempt, and we'll get to know of it very soon. That's there. But what really kind of crossed the line was that once the reporters had gone and met the local people, and when they were coming out, you had absolute goons, and one of whom has been arrested earlier on, I think most probably on in a drug case, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But I may stand to be corrected. But what I'm saying is, now these are at least some of them. Some of these were absolute criminal elements. They were goons, as per whatever the locals are saying. So, for them to accost a journalist, they first accosted the mail reporter of another web portal, and apparently threatened him and said, "We know where you live, and we're going to come and purportedly they even said that we're going to kill you and all that." So, and then when Asmita Polji, our very fiery reporter who covers North Goa, she went and started filming that whole incident. And that led to a volley of abuses on her, and and they moved menacingly towards her, and obviously she felt threatened. Anyway, the point is that Herald took this up very strongly. Complaint was filed. Of course, it took a very long time for them to even react to the complaint by putting names to the FIR. They took a long, about 3 days to identify the people and put them on the FIR.
Yeah,
and they knew very well who they were, because the videos were there and we had shown the videos. So yes, one feels that the police could have been a little more on their feet. The accused have got interim bail, but that needs to be opposed. The police are saying that will be opposed. Let's see what comes out of this. But what is important is that when a newspaper or a publication, or when Herald goes and covers and does things on behalf of the people, then do understand that we are doing this because we have the strength of the people with us, and we will continue to do this. And the people should come out and fight against injustices, and tell the system as well that the hand of the law should not only be large, but its eyes and ears should be open, and they should see to it that the common man does not suffer.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on to Tuesday, March the 29th, we have a major headline: Sawant presses the restart button to launch 100% BJP government. And when we say BJP government, we are referring that the Pramod Sawant had the gall not to take on board any allies when forming his cabinet. The MGP was kept out. The independents who instantly supported the government were also kept out.
Yes, I think one would say that in the long run, an independent or two may come in, or the MGP also may come in. We'll wait and see how this works out. But I think what he did was give two signals. One, to re-emphasize the fact that the BJP has won 20 seats, and because of which the first 9 MLAs, the tranche of MLAs who are going to be inducted into the cabinet, would be those who fought on a BJP ticket and won.
Yeah.
And that message was very important, because after what happened in 2017, when they literally had to form a government which was propped up on crutches of allies, this time they could afford to have their own independent government. So, so be it. So I think that message is very clear, that that it is a BJP, 100% BJP government. Secondly, I think also it wanted to give a signal to its own MLAs that they are the first priority. Because if you look at, say, the representation given to the Ponda Taluka with 3 MLAs, with Sudhin Daulikar being the 4th MLA from Ponda, they wanted to give a signal that the BJP MLAs from Ponda will all be given cabinet berths, to send a strong signal, that the BJP is serious about that Taluka, and to also tell Sudhin Daulikar, yes, we respect you for your, or we appreciate your giving support, but we will not go out of our way to sideline any of our own MLAs to accommodate you. It may happen later, may not happen. But at this point of time, we thank you for your support, and we will get back to you. That's the message that they've given.
But just a question which people may have.
Yeah.
Now, in this cabinet of 8, 5 of them are ex-Congress MLAs.
Correct, but that is the nature of the party at this point of time.
Yeah.
If the party does not have its own core. See, for instance, Rajendra Arlekar is the governor.
Yeah.
they did not give a ticket to Lakshmikant Parsekar. Now,
Parsekar.
before the elections, one could have argued. But what happens is once these people have, people have won and come, what argument do you have? Because they've got the people's mandate. So you can say, yes, they're all, undoubtedly they are all defectors at some point of time, and they're not part of the original BJP. But if you also look at it, a lot of them have been there for long enough, like Joshua. Now, Joshua has not been in any other party.
Yeah.
Joshua D'Souza is the son of Francis D'Souza, who has never been anywhere else. So if you have to look at that also. Nilesh Cabral has been with BJP for a very long time. Okay.
Yeah.
So one has to look at these things. Of course, the Chief Minister himself. So you would do know that out of the 9 MLAs who've been taken in, of course Joshua is not a minister, but if you look at the MLAs who won, there are many of them there are some of them who happen to be part of the old BJP, some of them who have joined the BJP almost, see for instance Movin Gudino. Movin Gudino has now spent about 7-8 years in the BJP, if not more actually. So a lot of these people have also spent some years in the BJP now. So one has to I feel that is the argument that has run its course. Because you can't go on doing that argument again and again. What is important is to see how they perform. What they do, all these are very important.
Okay. Then on March 31st, we have a headline on page 3, which talks about the Western bypass. Now, this Western bypass has come into the focus with the filing of the petition before the NGT, where a categorical statement was asked from the Chief Minister whether that 1.2 kilometers of the bypass would be on stilts. And the petitioner is insisting that the total length of 2.75 kilometers be built on stilts because it has severe environmental impact and impact on the lives of farmers.
That is true. The Western bypass issue has been there burning for a very long time. The Western bypass in South Goa, mainly in the whole Benoli, Majorda, that Uttorda area, has been built to basically ensure smoother traffic. But as it happens with all projects, there is a collateral damage that happens, which is very sad, and people are not really taken into account, or people's desires are not fulfilled completely with regard to how their lands can be protected. But here it's a larger issue, because fields are getting affected with this, and which will lead to a large, pretty big destruction of fields if the bypass goes according to plan. So what was envisaged is to build a bypass on stilts so that the fields are not covered. What the Chief Minister assured in the Assembly now is that the 1.22 kilometers of the 2.7 kilometers will be built on stilts. One would say it's a welcome announcement. But is it a practical announcement to have only that portion on stilts and not the entire stretch of the proposed Western bypass? Because you see, the stretch that the Chief Minister is talking about is from Mungul to Komba. Okay. Now, but what happens is you have areas like Benoli, Peda, these areas in that belt, which will get completely flooded with, this happens, because the fields will get very flooded if the construction goes on in this kind of a manner. So one has to look at the entire stretch, because you can't have large sections getting flooded and affected and so on and so forth. So while 1.22 is fine, but the demand to build the whole stretch on stilts does exist, and I think the activists in Benoli, led by Rayola Fernandez, they are moving the NGT once again to ensure that this happens. And they have also said that while we welcome it, but I think it's not enough unless the whole stretch is on stilts, which I think is a fair demand.
Okay. Then in today's Herald, we have this headline, and it is an issue that was pending long, and Herald had asked questions about it. The word very carefully chosen. Finally, the Congress has a CLP leader. It is Lobo and not Digambar Kamath.
Right.
And together with that, they have also announced the GPCC president, the working president, North Goa and South Goa district committee chiefs.
See, firstly, such a long delay from the 10th of March, when the election results were announced, till the 31st of March, the end of the financial year, when the Congress took almost 20 odd days to decide on the CLP leader. The funny part was, a budget session came and went, and you did not have a leader of the opposition. And the irony is that the person who kind of functioned as the leader of the opposition due to his seniority, Digambar Kamath, and everybody assumed that he would get it, did not finally become the leader of the opposition.
Yeah.
They chose the new entrant to the party, Michael Lobo, and made Digambar Kama the permanent invitee to the Congress Working Committee. Whatever be the case, of course the Congress was totally ridiculed. We called it a comedy show, and we are absolutely right in calling it because that's what it was becoming. But one would say that fine, they finally done it. I will not even say better late than never. It cannot be as late as this. But but anyway, since the deed is done, let us look at analyze that rather than the delay anymore, because that chapter is over. So let's look at it this way. It's a fresh start. The Congress has plucked somebody who was an absolute unknown, a young man called Amit Patkar to be the president of the Congress party.
Yeah.
He is from Kurchere, gave a very tough fight to Nilesh Kabral and almost pipped him to the post. I mean, he could have won that election.
Yeah.
So a young, articulate, new generation person.
Yeah.
Obviously he'll have a lot of energy and fuel in the tank to run and do this. So I feel that this is something that that can be worked on. The Congress has sent a message that they are ready to work with a new bunch of people.
Yeah.
Also, you must see that the other people that they have got in the legislature wing, they have got a deputy CLP leader. I think that's Yuri Alemao. No, deputy CLP leader is
Sankal
Pamunkar. Then they've got the chief whip, who is Kailash Ferreira.
Yeah.
Yuri Alemao is the working president of the Congress. So even on the organization side, you have Amit Patkar and you have Yuri Alemao as the working president.
Yeah.
So these are interesting things. So it means that the Congress is looking at new people to take it forward.
Yeah. So that's all that we can pack into this the week that was. We hope that you enjoyed this program. I thank my guest, Mr. Sujay Gupta, for giving us his insights and analysis into the news.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for watching The Week That Was. We hope you join us next week on this program.